Hello everyone, my name is Himanshu Sharma. In this video, we will create a Maven project and then upgrade that to a Spring Boot 3 project and then finally use OpenAPI specification to create our REST endpoints. We will also enable Swagger to test our endpoint. So let's get started. So this will be the project which will be the final product, and let me just quickly show you once how our end product will look like. So I just started this project, okay, and we will take the reference of this project also during this video. So now I will go to Swagger and then we should get a API v1 user and we can try it out. We can specify any string over here, okay, and then execute it, and then we should expect a response with 2 user information. Alright, and in the logs we can see the string which was sent from the Swagger. So let's get started. Let me stop this one and let's create a new project. So we say file, new project, and I'll create Maven project Java 17 and we name it as OpenAPI demo. Alright, and then we say create a new window. Okay, I'm getting this Defender configuration, so I will just automatically allow it. Okay, it's done. So we have our blank Maven project supporting Java 17. Because we are using Java 17 because Spring Boot 3 have the minimum requirement of Java 17. And now we need to upgrade it to our Spring Boot 3 project. And for that, we will go to Spring Initializer website over here, start.spring.io. We select Maven project, and in the dependencies we say we just need the reactive. We are not going to generate this project, but what you can do is you can just define these values as per your requirement. So we name it com Himanshu demo, that's it, and we say explore. And here we just need to copy what we need. So we need the parent block, so we copy it and we put it at our end after modal version. Then what else we need? We need the dependencies block. We just copy it and you can paste it after properties, and here see they have generated for the group ID and artifact ID, so that also you can update over here. So I can update it like this, or you can copy paste this part also. And yes, that's all we need. So we get the parent, we get the properties, we get the dependencies, and we need one more. We need the build section. So let's copy this one also. And I think we missed one attribute over here. Let's name it. So we can say name, and we can name this one as OpenAPI demo. Alright, so that's all we need. Now we load our Maven changes. Okay, it is done. And now what I'm going to do is I will just execute the install. Alright, so we get the success over here. Let's see what we get. Source main Java. Okay, this is the previously generated one, so we can refactor it. We can say that com not unshow. Alright, and then in the target we should expect that the target should be as per our maven. So we say classes. Okay, I think we don't have any, so right now just delete the org folder, and in the maven we need the Spring Boot application. So we need to update our main class. So we say Spring Boot application here, and then we say spring application dot run, and then we specify our current class, main class, and we just pass the arguments. That's it. Let's format it once, and then let's run it. Alright, it's running, so we can just quickly stop it once. Since we're still getting the older target folder, let me run the install one more time. I think we left something somewhere. No, we got it. I think we need to perform a clean once, and then if we go with install, we should be good. Yep, that's it. So we have the project. Now we need an application YAML file, and let me tell you why we need it. Okay, and we specify server port which is 8080, but we need to specify the logging level. So let me add the logging level, and for that I am referring the already built code. So I will just copy these lines and put it in our demo project over here. So why I'm doing this is it will give me the exposed endpoints in my log itself. Okay, so I don't need to test through the browser to check whether the endpoint is there or not. I can directly see it in the logs. Alright, so this is our Spring Boot application. Can try one more time running it, and yeah, you can see over here the Netty server started on port 8080. Alright, so far so good. Now let's move on to the OpenAPI specification. So let me stop this one, and for that first we are going to do is we will create a OpenAPI spec file in our resources. So we say OpenAPI spec demo.yaml. Alright, OpenAPI spec demo.yaml. Alright, and for this one again I will refer the previous project, and here I will copy this one, the first few lines. Okay, and then for the paths one, let's create it. So what we are going to do is we will first create a simple path. So a simple path means we will say a user. So we are not going to use these parameters and all. So alright, so let me just copy it from here till here, and we will then update it on in a more simplified code. So what we can do is we will remove this for now, and we specify it as string, and we can say it's as text, and we don't need the parameters. Okay, and since we are not using the parameter, it will be like this, and we are removing the operation ID. So we will add all of those later, but for now this will be our a simple OpenAPI specification file, and what it is saying is that it's following 303 specification. Okay, and these numbers do matter when you are working with OpenAPI. They tend to have a different behavior, and I will show you that also. So now in the paths, we are saying that exposing a user API, it's a GET request. A user will make a GET request with a user endpoint, and it should get a response in a simple text. Okay. And then in the server's URL, we are specifying the version v1 for the localhost 8080 v1. So whatever our API is, they were prefixed with this string over here. All right. So now coming on to our maven, and let me minimize it. Let me put it over here. And in this, what I'm going to do is I will include the OpenAPI generator. Now, when we are looking for OpenAPI generator, the best place we get is OpenAPI generator, the official website itself. And we usually copy this, paste it, and then modify it as per our requirement, right? So let's do this. We will copy it, okay, and we paste it over here. We paste it inside the plugin. All right, let's remove this part. Let's remove this part. Now I will refer my already established code, and I will copy few things from here. So first of all, what I'm going to copy, I will copy the API package and model package name. Okay, so after generator name, you can specify these. So what it will do is it will generate the endpoints data, endpoints classes in your this directory structure, and it will generate the components, or you can say the DTO and model data inside this directory structure. Okay. And in the generator name, we are going with Spring, so we use the Spring one. Okay. And then in config options, we will be using the delegate pattern like this, and we will remove the source folder. All right, coming back to the supported files to generate, we'll copy this one, and yep, that's all we need. Okay, that's all we need, right? So we use the version specified by the OpenAPI generator. So we just reload the maven projects, maven changes, and now what I'm going to do is before running that, I need to update this path. So in my case, it is source main resources OpenAPI spec demo. So it's not API, it's going to be OpenAPI spec demo, OpenAPI spec demo, and YML file. Okay, and then we update it, and quickly run the install command. All right. So now what we are getting is we are getting the annotations error, right? So what we have to do is we need to include the dependency. So if you go over here on the official site, you can see this one, the Swagger annotations, or the Swagger parser, the dependency they are saying, right? So you can refer them, or you can just look for this one, like IO Swagger annotations. So go to the internet, go for maven repository and search for this one, IO Swagger version 3 OS annotations. Okay, we are not getting it over here. Let me search it right away. Yeah, here it is. See, iOS Swagger core version 3. So we will take the latest one. Alright, and we just copy it and we put it in our main POM YAML. So we will go over here, we say dependency, and we are going to paste it over here. Do it. Okay, and then now we are getting the JavaX validation does not exist. Why? Because we are working on Spring Boot 3. Okay, so first of all, at first place, we should not have JavaX, we should have Jakarta validation in place. Because as part of Java 17, these packages are refactored to to the Jakarta namespace. So how we can do that is go to POM XML again, and in the config option, I'm going to use Jakarta EE and we say true. Okay, and now perform the clean and now install the plugin again. We are still looking for JavaX validation. Wait, let me check. Did we use the correct one? Let's refer our previous code. We use Jakarta EE. Use Jakarta EE. Right, so we are using it, but still somehow the generator is still generating JavaX. So let's try one thing. Let's upgrade our version. So let's change it to 650. Okay, there is I don't think we have any issue in our code. And now let's run the install again. There we go. So that's one of the issue we encounter, and the issue is like these plugins, you need to play through these numbers. Okay, so this when I use this latest version 650, it started supporting the executing the Jakarta Jakarta packages, while even the previous subversion, the 600, even though we are specifying the same options, they are not generating the Jakarta validations. So now we got the Jakarta, but now still we are missing the package. So instead of searching for the net, we can simply refer our project, but you can refer the in net also. So here we should have a Jakarta validation API like this one. So I just copy this API dependency and I put it over here. That's it. Save it. Now again install. Okay, so now we are missing the Jakarta servlet package. So what we are going to do is we will include the servlet dependency again, right? Save it and we say install. Yeah, done. That means we can check on to our target directory and we can check on the generated sources, OpenAPI, source, main, Java, and here we have the API related class files generated. Okay. Now let's run this application once. So this is what I was telling you earlier. This is how it helped me to understand that okay, this API is already exposed. I can refer this API. Okay, but right now we don't have the Swagger enabled. So what we can do is we can use the Swagger. So for that we again refer our code, and there should be one dependency, this not this one, spring doc, yeah, this one only, sorry, this one. We just copy it, we paste it, and then we reload it, and yep, then just restart our application. Now we should expect much more endpoints. You can see over here we are getting the exposed endpoints, and this is the URL where we can get the Swagger UI. So let's hit out to the Swagger UI. So localhost Swagger UI, we load it and we get the v1 user, get list of users. If I click on it, I will try it out and I just say execute, and what it says is error not implemented, and that's perfectly fine. Why? Let me show you. The reason is, if you look at the generated code, okay, if you look at the controller, what the controller is doing, it is internally invoking the delegate. Now if I go to delegate, the default implementation of this user get method, okay, is not implemented. So now we need to override this implementation, and how we can do that is we will go to our code base and we will create a package. Let's say we create a package as delegate, okay, and now we want to implement. So let's say I want to implement this, so I will create a user API AMPL, right, and here I will say implements and user API delegate, okay, right, and now we are going to include the override the method, the user get method, right. So what it is doing is it is returning a string. So what I will say is, okay, I will say response entity dot okay, and then I will specify the string successfully returned hello world. All right, now let's rerun our application. Wait, we forgot one thing. It's a Spring Boot application. So not only we need to implement this, we need to specify this as one of the Spring component. So let's rerun it now. Okay, it started. Get back to the Swagger, hit it, and then try it out, and then execute, and here we get the response, right. All right, so we get the response and we have our OpenAPI working. Now coming back to our specification, let's enhance this API more. So right now what happened is, you can see where user get, okay, so it generates this, even the method name automatically, right. If you want to provide your own method name, you can go to the spec file, which is where is the spec file, this one, and here we can use the attribute operation ID, and we name it, let's say we want to name it get user information, like this, okay. And now if I me stop this application right now. Okay, and let's perform the install again. Alright, so method does not override or implement from a super type. We get this error because we implemented this part based on the previous delegate. But now if you go to user API delegate, you will get a different method, which is get user information. So we can just simply update our code and use the get user information. And now again, if you just okay, it will fail because okay, let me, yeah, it should work. Let's try one more time. Alright, yeah, it is working. Okay, so now let's enhance our API spec. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I will stop the application, and now we will enhance our API to provide a more a real world object like we use for like DTO, right? So let's go over here, let's refer this one, and in this the DTO or the models you can specify in the component section. So I just copy the component section and paste it over here, right? So we have the path section, now we have the component section. Under the component section we specify schemas, and the first one is user DTO. In this video this will be the only one, and then we say type as an object, we say user DTO for user information, and then in the properties we specify first name or last name. Okay, now in this case we need this list of these user DTO to be returned. So here instead of saying string we say array. Now for array, if we get back over here, it will look for items. So we say yes. So what we are saying is that the response will be of type array, and the array items will be referring the user DTO. So basically we are returning an array of user DTO. Okay, now let's add a search parameter over here, user search. Okay, and what we expect is it should be a string. I mean, we hardly care about this right now because I'm just showing you to get an idea how the parameters can also be binded in the request. So let's get back over here, and we will just copy the parameters section. Okay, so description, operation ID, and then I will say parameter section. So here parameters, and it will be an array because you can have more parameters. So we currently only have one, so we say name search. In, we are saying in path, okay, because it can be in a query, like instead of like this it can be like this, search and then some data. So sorry, like this, and then some value, right? So but we are going with the path one, so we are saying name search in path required is true, yes, and then schema is of type string, so we just want this to be as a string, and that's all we need. Okay, so now let's generate this specification. We are getting a Jackson nullable does not exist. Okay, fine. Jackson nullable does not exist. That's completely fine because we might be missing some dependencies. So what we can do is we can just go over to our main POM, and then we refer our previous code, we might have injected a few dependencies over here, and let's copy this one, checksum data bind nullable, and let's paste it over here. Let's see if this one fixes the issue. Okay, it is doing some fixes. Now let's try one more time. Now you're saying method does not implement, or oh yeah, completely fine, because for that API now the whole signature is changed. So if I can show you right now, you can say get user information. Now you can see the difference, right? We are getting the search parameter in the arguments, and in the return type we are expecting now a list of user detail. Okay. So yep, this will do. And now let me just do one more thing. Let me clean the target folder. Okay, and then regenerate the code again. All right. Now if you go to target, generated sources, OpenAPI, source, main, Java, and model and API. Now if we just rewind our discussion a bit, you remember we put this API package and model package, and now you can see over here the API is containing the API information, while the model package is containing the DTO information. Okay, that's how these things play. Alright, so this is done. Now let me show you one more thing. If I go over here, OpenAPI specification, and let me change it to 3.1.0, which is the latest one. Okay, I will do clean again, and now I will do install. Now we are getting the error. What error we are getting? Illegal character in opaque part at index 2. Okay, you see this thing? Just look at the directory structure, the C backslash, the forward slash. So I mean, that's one of the learning I had, like while working with the OpenAPI, you need to play around with these numbers to get the perfect combination for your requirement. So right now I feel like 3.1 have issues. Some might be open issues, some are resolved but not yet merged with the latest code base. So yeah, so now one way to solve this issue is I can go over to the form XML, okay, and I just copy this whole part, okay, and in the input spec I just paste it like this, and then all the backslash I will make them as the front one. I guess that's what we do. Yeah, and now if I again do input install, yep, see it worked, but see it's giving a very different behavior, right? See what it is saying is user API delegate model. We might have something. So user API. So I mean, what happened is now we are getting some different error. So okay, so let me comment this part out for the time being. Let's say we don't even have this file. Okay, let's let's ignore this. All right, so we done the clean. Let's perform the install now. Okay, we got the success, but is this the success? Let's see. We go over here, we get the API. You see what we are getting over here. Object. I mean, this is supposed to be string, right? We specified string, but we are getting as object, and same goes for the model. If you go to user DTO, see, whatever string we created, it makes them into JSON nullable object. So I try to get this issue fixed by figuring out if there is any other option to work with 310, and finally I end up with the solution to change your specification. I mean, at least for now, use the specification as 30. Might be we get the fix at a later point of time, but at least for today it is not working. So I change it to 303 again, and by changing it, if I go back again over here, first of all I don't need to make the hard coding of this path, right? So we can revert these change back. Okay, and second thing, if I install it one more time, and now if you go to user DTO, and you can see we are getting the string, right? And in the delegate also it is working completely fine. Now, so this part is done. Let's quickly implement something for our API over here. So let's do one thing. Let's implement user API delegate. Okay, and then what we can do is we can say generate this one, and what we are going to do is we will create two DTO objects. We say user DTO one new user DTO, and we say user DTO one dot set first name and name it as Himanshu, and you can say user set last name, and I can name it as Sharma, and I just copy these, paste it over here, and do the same for 2, and we name it like 2. That's it. And then finally in the response entity we say response entity dot OK, and we say list of user DTO1, user DTO2, and that's it. Alright, so now let's run our application, and one more thing we need to do is let's print out received input, and we just put it over here. Okay, so let's run it one more time. And now go to Swagger. So we get the API, we click over here, we say try it out, we say any string, and we execute it. We get the response over here, right? And if we go to the code, we should expect that log giving us the input. Now this is all good, but there is one more thing, and that is this is not yet reactive, right? And just to enable that, what I can do is I will update the my plugin in the POM XML. So I will go over here and I will say reactive true. Okay. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I will perform the install again. And now we should get the error. That's completely fine. So let's put that method over here. So this is that one. And now we need to remove this one. Let's remove this and put it over here. Okay, and then you can completely remove this one. So you can see we are getting the mono of flux, and the flux is the list of our users. So we can say flux dot just, okay, and then we will say user dto1 comma user dto2, and let's define the local variable flux. We say result list. All right, and here say return mono dot just response entity dot okay, and here we specify our result list, and that's it. All right, let's format it a bit. Now again perform clean and install. All right, let's just restart it one more time. All right, so it is running, and we can go over here. We can say Swagger UI HTML and click on this, try it out. We say any string information, execute, and what we get is our list back. And over here in the OpenAPI demo project, we get the output of the that search over here in the log. Yeah, so let me just reiterate what we did so far. In fact, what we did in this video, and then we can just conclude it. So we created an empty maven project. Okay, and from that maven project we included the Spring Boot specific parent and dependencies, as well as the Spring Boot plugin using the Spring IO initializer website. Okay, once that done, we use the OpenAPI generator maven plugin. Okay, we get to know about the issues while working with different versions of the generator plugin, and we also get to know about the issues observed when we are going with the 3.1 specification. I'm hoping the fixes might be around soon. And then moving on to the executions part. Here in the plugin side, we discuss about how we are specifying the OpenAPI specification file in the plugin, and the different config options we use, the delegate pattern one, and we use the Jakarta E to get the Jakarta specific packages to support Java 17, and then we use the reactive to generate the code supporting the reactive approach, the Webflux one. Okay, then in the specification file we specify the paths. We started with a basic user one, which was just returning the text, and then we later on modified it to return a complete list of user DTOs. We discuss how the user DTO can be specified in the specification file and can be later use in your project. Okay, we encounter issues related to the type conversion when we are dealing with the OpenAPI 3.1. Okay, so yeah. So far this whole is my personal experience while working with 3.1 OpenAPI or using a previous version of the Maven plugin. Okay, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And I would just like to highlight this part. The last thing is like this reactive feature. I get to know from one of the other a YouTube channel which is named as like dev problems, and that guy also posted very creative videos related to Java and related stuff, and that one also have a OpenAPI video, and I referred this one from that that channel. So it's like credit needs to be given when it's due, so I just want to mention that over here. All right, so that's all in this video. Thanks for watching. Thank you everyone. If you have any suggestions or feedback, just let me know in the comment section. Thank you and have a nice day.